loving this. So usually whenever people see my helmet, they ask me what kind of motorcycle I have. And whenever I show them my bike, usually I get asked, how often do I ride my bike, and tell them, year round, every day. Been doing it for 4 or 5 years now, something like that. Usually that's met with, jaws on the ground, eyes popping out of sockets, and just, general, shock all the way around. I had a car, I had 2 cars as a matter of fact, basically right out of high school. Not, I think I waited for like a year or something like that. I wasn't in a rush to get a car. I wasn't in a rush to get my driver's license. Didn't really have a reason why. It just didn't really appeal to me that much. And of course at the time I also didn't know people rode bikes as often. I didn't realize that there were whole communities all around the world that ride bikes the same way I'm doing now. Being in Fort Wayne is a medium-sized town, and it's kind of in an awkward gray area as far as, physical size, population, overall lifestyle. I've heard it described as a very big, fancy, nice hick town, which I don't think is totally inaccurate. And it's not meant as a good thing or a bad thing, it's just meant as a statement of fact. For the size that it is, for the population that Fort Wayne has, and for what Fort Wayne has to offer as far as, trails and not too many highways, the speed limits are up there in some places, but overall, fairly reasonable. I think it could be a little bit lower, and that would of course help the cycling community feel safer cycling. Of course, speed limits aren't the only thing. It also has to do with, drivers just respecting cyclists, respecting scooters, respecting skateboards, and realizing that we have just as much right to be on the road as they do. And on the road every single time, I do my best to, abide by the traffic laws. I can't always do that for my own safety. The laws, not all the traffic laws are always in the best interest of the safety of cyclists. I've found this out through trial and error. But overall, in my experience of having 2 cars, and now I'm on my 3rd bike, it just makes economic and environmental sense, not to mention, the physical, mental, and emotional health benefits that go with it. It's one of those things where I didn't really realize how stressed I was making myself, how much of a financial hole I was digging myself just to be able to keep up a car that was costing me money and costing me stress. I didn't realize how stressful driving was, at least to me, until I started biking everywhere, until I started cycling everywhere. If you've done what I'm doing now, you went from driving to cycling or whatever like that, you've experienced both for a period of time. I'm talking, years, like I am doing now, year round. It sounds extreme, but you're at the other extreme end. If you're driving year round every single day and you're not used to cycling, congratulations, you are at the other extreme end of where I am. cycling for me is more freeing than what owning and operating a motor vehicle ever has been to me. It just is. There is no, there is no other way to put it. In my experience, you're either paying out of your ass for a lease on a car, a brand new car, and therefore, almost anything that happens to it, as far as, that would be considered under normal wear and tear, and I think even a little bit beyond, depending on what the lease says, is covered under the lease agreement. So, or you spend, $1,000 on a used car, a nicer beater, and it's yours, you own it outright, you're not paying on it except for all the maintenance that you got to put in to be able to keep it going. I didn't like the liability of either one of those options. So, because of the fact that my day job doesn't pay for a car, they don't have a company car, they won't reimburse me for travel or anything like that, I said, fine, I'll just ride my bike to work, and my boss is totally fine with that. I've never really had a problem with it. Whenever it rains, I've got the money saved up for a Lyft or an Uber, so I just do that. I've been very fortunate. I've been very fortunate in this way that there hasn't been too many rainy days this year or last year. There was like 2 years ago, and yeah, I spent a shitload of money on Lyft and Uber for like, what was it, 2 weeks or something like that. I think I got a Lyft or an Uber like almost 3 days each week or something. Insane like that. Like, it was a lot. So I'm gonna go home.